Hi everybody, this is a video to show you how to take through Design Space this new SVG to cut a really nice piece of packaging for 4 standard cellophane wrapped wax melt snap bars. It's a tuck-in box that the snap bars slot into, as you can see here, and then there's a decorative cover that comes over the top, which can be done as a print then cut project with you get a choice of 3 different artworks, or you can just cut it from any card you want, or you could of course use your own, create your own print then cut artwork just by using the SVG cut file. I think that's all I need to tell you. If you look on the Etsy listing, you'll be able to see the different artworks. There are 3 altogether. There's this one that says "Have a Merry Smelly Christmas," which I think is fine, but quite a few people have told me that they wouldn't use it. So you get one that just says, I think, "Have a very Merry Christmas," and then one that says "Happy Christmas." And as I say, you can make your own as well, can't you? Okay, right. Let's open Design Space and we'll bring them in. So like I did before with the other print then cut file, I'm just going to show you how to quickly take the cut file through as if you were just going to cut it. We won't talk about print to start with, and then if any of you are new to multi-part SVGs with scores, this will quickly show you how to just cut it if you don't want to print anything. So we've dropped it onto the canvas from my library. The first thing you need to do with any multi-part SVG cut file which has score lines is you've got to convert the lines that come in as cuts but which we want to be scores, because we can't make them come in and be auto-generated as scores anymore. With my SVGs, they always live in that first subgroup in your layers panel, and the name of that group is always the second line down. So you just click on the second line down in your layers panel, go to your operations menu, click on basic cut and choose score from the drop down, and you can see that those lines that need to be scores have been converted now. But because there's more than one set, while they're still selected, we need to ungroup them. If you're on the mobile app, ungroup will be, I think it's under the edit menu somewhere at the bottom, but I'm on the desktop version for PC, and so ungroup for me is at the top of the layers panel. Then the group underneath that contains all the cut pieces and any tiny cuts within them, what you can see here. All we need to do there is ungroup, and then we need to select everything on screen. You can do that a couple of different ways. You can click right at the top of the layers panel, you can use the select all button there, or you can just drag a box to enclose everything. However you do it, once everything is selected, do a third ungroup. That means now that everything on screen is a separate piece, separate cuts, separate scores, and now we can attach the scores to just the pieces that they relate to. We need to do it piece by piece, because if you select everything and attach it, you'll get a message that tells you the project is incompatible with your machine because it's too big. That happens a lot. I get loads of inquiries about that, and it's dead simple. It's just that you've selected too many things and attached them together. So the quickest way to select one piece is to click on canvas somewhere near it, drag a box to enclose it, and click on attach, which for me is at the bottom of the layers panel. If you're on the mobile app, it'll be somewhere else. No scores on here. This is a little inscription panel that goes on top of the tuck-in, just there, and then we need to attach these scores to the tuck-in box. Okay, so we'll hit make it and I'll show you what happens. So this is assuming that we're making the cover and the tuck-in box out of the same card. It doesn't really matter because they go on different mats anyway. And then this inscription piece out of something like white. So if you were cutting that on its own, that would fit on an A4. This is the cover. That would fit on 12 by 12. And this is the tuck-in box. Now then, just going to nip back to canvas and show you how big that is. It is, if I can just zoom in a little bit, 23.59 centimeters wide, and it's 29.8 centimeters, 298 millimeters long. Now, 12 by 12 card, if it's truly 12 by 12, is 305 millimeters square. So that means that we've got 7 millimeters to play with, which is quarter of an inch, a little bit more than quarter of an inch. So when we hit make it, even though it will tell us that we can't select 12 by 12 here, if you've got the old machine, you can use the standard mat and a sheet of 12 by 12. I'm saying the old machine, I mean the Cricut, the original maker, or the Explorer 2 downwards. If you've got those older machines that don't check the size of the mat that you're using, so that you can sneak a short mat through, you'll be able to use standard mat and a piece of 12 by 12. If you're on the Maker 3 or the Explorer 3, you're going to have to use the long mat, but you'll still be able to use 12 by 12 card even though you can't select it from the list. So if this was me, I would just choose 12 by 12. I personally would use my standard mat because I've got the original maker, and I might just drop the card a millimetre or two down from that very first white line on my mat, just to make sure I've got a little bit of extra play here, but actually I think it would cut just fine. As I say, if you're on the newer machines, I'm afraid you are going to need the longer mat to cut that, because I don't even think it'll let us turn it round because the maximum cutting width is 292. Yeah, it won't, unfortunately. So hang on, let me just double check that. Let's say we are using the huge paper. No, it still won't, because it's 292, isn't it? The maximum cutting width. Unfortunately, yeah. So yeah, I'm afraid newer machine users, you're going to need the long mat, but you can still cut it from one sheet of 12 by 12. Right, so that is the project. If you were not doing any print then cut, if you've got some lovely paper and you've just decided that you're just going to cut this as a gift box and perhaps embellish it yourself once it's cut and made. So I'm going to delete that again, and I'm going to start from scratch as a print then cut. So if you're not doing print then cut, you can turn off now. Right, so we're just going to start from scratch as if this is a print then cut project. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to select the first subgroup in the layers panel that has the score lines again, operations menu, down to score, and because there's more than one, we need to ungroup them. Then we select the group below. You can tell it's still in a group because it's got this little arrow that you can toggle open and closed. So that's the name of the group, and when you open it you can see everything in it. So just click on the name of it and ungroup it, and then again select absolutely everything on screen and do that third ungroup. Then we attach the scores to the individual pieces that they relate to, remember, not the whole thing. Right. So if you wanted to make this as your inscription card and you wanted to write on it, you're going to need to make it. It's already white. You could of course have it any colour you wanted, but we're going to need to change it to print then cut, and then we'll put some text on. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I realise if you're doing this as a commercial thing, it might say something different, and you're actually probably more likely to leave it blank for your customer to write on, aren't you? But let's just choose a font. I'm going to go to System, and I'm just going to choose this Alex brush because I think it's lovely. And that's Mahoosive, isn't it? So we'll just make it a bit smaller. You probably won't have it that big, but this is really just to show you how to do it. Make your text, print then cut, and choose any colour you want. Let's just go for a nice dark blue. And then I'm going to select both of those things, centre it horizontally, centre it vertically. You would do whatever you want with that. You could even, like on my photographs, you could bring in some lovely pictures to decorate it with as well. Then you need to select the whole thing, and because it's a print then cut, you've got to flatten it. Right, so that's the inscription card done. There is no print then cut for the tuck-in box, so actually for the purposes of this no, I'm leave it on. I'll leave it on as if you're going to do it all together. Right, so I'm going to bring in one of the cover artworks now. I'll upload a different one. I won't bring in the Smelly Merry Christmas one that I think I'm the only one that seems to like. I hope I'm not. Let me know if you like it too. I think it's quite funny. Obviously, you'd only use it for wax melts. You wouldn't use it, hopefully, unless you're giving something else that's scented, I guess. Right. Do you know what? I should have gone through that. I'm going to do that again because the whole point of this is to show you how to bring it in. Right. So you navigate on your system to wherever it is and then you open. At this window, I should have said this at the time, I always click complex. I don't know whether it makes any difference, but I just always go for complex. At this window, you don't need to do anything. There is a white background, but we need it because that's our cut size. So all we need to do at this window here is click apply and continue. And then yes, we are bringing it in as a print then cut. Sorry, I should have done that the first time. Right, so there it is in the library now. We can add it to canvas. PNG files always come in way too big. It's actually brought it in twice, hasn't it now? Yeah, let's just add that again. That's the one I'm going to put on. There it is. They always come in a little bit too big. So what we do is we click on our cut file to get the right width, and we can see that it should be 23.65 centimeters wide. If you're in inches, obviously that'll be different. But whatever measurement you get there, type it in, select your artwork and type it in to your width box, 23.65. 23.65. Make sure that the padlock here is locked and then just tab across or hit return or however you move over to that box and the height will be set automatically. So then all we need to do is select the artwork and the cut piece. We center it horizontally and we align it to the top to make sure it's in exactly the right place. Then we select this, which is our cut piece, which currently is attached to score lines, isn't it? And we've got to detach it now because we're going to do some work with that cut piece. And then we just select the cut piece. I've selected it there in the layers panel. You can click on screen if you find that easier. We're going to make it print then cut. We're going to make it white because we don't want anything to print on it. And then, where's the artwork? The artwork is all the way up there, but you can do it on screen. Click on the artwork, click on the cut piece and flatten them. If you don't do that, if you just attach them or if you just group them, you will get a cut at the bottom of your artwork line there. So it's really important that you select that cut piece and the artwork and flatten it. And now we can see that the scores have disappeared, but all we're going to do is just go to arrange and send that to the back and then the scores reappear. Then we can select the scores and the piece just like we did when it was a cut file and attach. So now those things are ready to go. We'll hit make it. And you can see that both print and cut pieces will fit on one A3 or on one sheet of tabloid. So if you're in the US, you'll pick tabloid. Your printer's got to be able to print it, of course. If you're in the UK or Europe, you'll pick A3. And there you've got your tuck-in box still, which we've already talked about, which will cut from 12 by 12. And if you're on the older machines, you'll get away with the standard mat as well. But since you need it, if you're going to do print then cut for these, you need the long mat for that because that will cut from 1A3. That's it. I hope that's been clear. If you have any questions when you come to do any part of this project, cutting it or assembling it, please don't hesitate to get in touch. The links to do that are in the description below this video. And if you've just stumbled across the video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to do that is also in the description below. Thanks a lot. Bye.